de här stolarna?
We may have more space.
Hjälp! Jag kände samma. Det vore lite jobbigt om man trillade bakom här. Som Louise satt, när Alta är det, satt på en bil så blev det ojämlikt. Så hon trillade stackars. Det kändes lite så att trillade.
Samma dröm liksom.
Ja.
Välkomna in allihopa, nu kör vi. Welcome, sit down. I should stay in place. All right, I think that it's time to start. Welcome to this seminar in English. Three of us will feel like this is not our, or everyone. No, okay. But the most important thing is that we all will understand each other. So, my name is Lisa Gustafsson, and I will moderate this seminar. And we will talk about that Ukraine has been forced to rethink its labor market during the war. Women are serving in the armed forces, leading companies, driving heavy transport, and operating construction machinery, and working in sectors that were previously close to them. So today we will explore what changed, whether those changes will last, and see what Sweden can learn from Ukraine's experience. So with me here today, I have the Minister for Gender Equality of the Swedish government, Nina Larsson, welcome, and Director of UN Women Sverige, Ulrika Gradin. And then we have Head of Public Affairs, Volvo Construction Equipment, Tora Leifland, and Program Manager at Beredskapslyftet Reskilling Ukraine, Eva Tatarova. So let's start with you each, like briefly, very short, tell us about your connection to today's topic. Would you like to start, Nina?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this invitation and to be able to be here. My connection to this is that this is a crucial and very clear example that gender equality is not a soft value. As a matter of fact, it's a matter of security. That men and women both can reach their full potential is a strong part of society's resilience. So that's my connection to this.
Yeah.
Thank you, and thank you for having me here. UN Women, of course, have a large program in Ukraine and a large support by Sweden, for instance. And having women in the reconstruction in sustainable peace is crucial. We've seen it everywhere, so we really need to make sure that we're not building back worse, we're building back better. So that's my connection.
Thank you. So I'm representing Volvo Construction Equipment. For those of you who don't know, it's a company that develops and sells big yellow machines, excavators, wheel loaders, and we're a Swedish company. We're part of the Volvo Group, but we are present in 180 markets across the world. And I would say in each and every country is construction a male-dominated industry. So even if there are reasons that we kicked off this program in Ukraine, I would say that it's heartening to see how much unites us as well.
Yeah, and from my side, Beredskapslyftet is running Reskilling Ukraine project, And one part of that project is teaching women and giving them the pathway into the so-called male-dominated professions in Ukraine. But I should highlight that so far we had a talk with women in Ukraine, and they said, like, we'd like the society to stop saying male-dominated because you still put this label. So we agreed on calling them gender-biased or gender-imbalanced profession, but just to leave this part of so-called or historically or whatnot male-dominated. So this is what we are doing now.
Great. And Sweden is a partner in Ukraine's defense and reconstruction. Why does what's happening in Ukraine now, and especially to Ukrainian women in the workforce, matter to us here today? Nina, what do you say?
Well, it's aligned what I said before, because it's not gender equality is not only a topic that we should discuss in happy times or in peaceful times. We have to integrate gender equality of many reasons. Of course, it's a democratic human rights perspective, of course, but it's also good business. It's also a matter of reaching the society's full potential and capability. So we really need to learn the lessons Ukraine have learned now, but also a bit more sense of urgency, I would say, in Sweden.
Great. And Ulrika, you have done a study in UN Women. Would you like to tell us a bit of what the numbers look like?
I mean, in Ukraine, the women are still much more out of the labor market than men, even if the men are at the front. And in all conflicts, and also in Ukraine, the unpaid care work, the care for family and relatives and the society usually come on the shoulders of women. At the same time, and this is a difficult topic to talk about, but gender-based violence is very common in all societies, but also in Ukraine. And that is, of course, the sexual violence in conflict that happens in the war, but also gender-based violence at home, intimate partner violence. Of course, it's a violent society. It's harmed by conflict, and then gender-based violence increases. So there's a lot of pressure on women and girls in Ukraine and in all conflicts. But it's also an opportunity, of course, when we talk about women's economic empowerment. And UN Women is part of an alliance that wants to do the reconstruction in Ukraine to be more gender balanced and take this opportunity to really create a better society for Ukraine and for the world and for the EU and the entrance into the European Union. And so that's one big alliance. And then UN Women, of course, works with women's economic empowerment broadly. A lot of, I think it was a third or something of companies in Ukraine that are led by a woman now. So it's really an opportunity also for women to really gain access to economic markets and new opportunities.
And do you think that the attitudes among employers have changed, or are women still expected to step back when the man returns?
And that's the big question here,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And I mean, that happened after the World War II in Europe. Women had to step back in the 50s, go back to their families and be housewives because the men came back from the front. But then you can see in the 60s that the women's part of the labor market rose again. So I think that was... They kind of it was a seed that was sown when women came out on the labor market. It decreased, but I think it can increase again. And then there are so many role models now. I want to, if I have time, to say something about a UN Women program coordinated by UN Women that is called She Drives. And that's an opportunity for women to be bus drivers and truck drivers. and they're needed there, but it's also the result has been that the traffic is more safer when women are the truck drivers and bus drivers, so there were other advantages to that. And then a woman, she's called Olga, and she's in her 30s, and she was really firm about there are still stereotypical views on women, but just by being there and creating this community among women truck drivers, and just for others to see that that can change norms. And of course, changing norms takes a lot of time. We see it everywhere. But I mean, you have to have those role models. And she's now also becoming an activist for women's rights in Ukraine. So that's a happy story.
Yeah, and you know all about this. Yeah, yeah, because you see this in real life through your project. So what are you seeing? Who are these women? Do you recognize?
Yeah, I think I should put some context here. So about the Reskilling Ukraine project, so far we have trained 1,357 women coming into the professions of transport, logistics, construction. So they are truck drivers, bus drivers, construction equipment operators, welders, vehicle mechanics. These are the women who are, I mean, the background of those women, they are of different background. And what I want to say, of course, there is economic necessity here for them to step into these professions, but not only. So what we are seeing now, apart from economic necessity, we can see that women are willing to step in. And for those who don't know, Ukraine up to 2017 has a ban for 450 professions for women, so they couldn't enter these professions. And only, it was like, I think, Soviet Union heritage. And only in 2017, this window of opportunities opened. But as you said before, also we are talking about the systemic changes. So it's not only about getting the chance to enter the profession. Then we talk about employers being ready, society being ready, infrastructure being ready. So this is what we are seeing and witnessing now, that it is changing due to the war. But anyway, women are willing to step in and start this work to be done. Yeah.
Would you like to share a case so we can that show what is possible?
Like the best case, if you'd like to, you may go to our tent and read about the cases. But since Scania is here and Håkan is here, the case is here actually. We have training for vehicle mechanics, and Scania Ukraine has hired the first female vehicle mechanic working there. And then it's a huge case for us, because when Elena, her name is Elena, when she was hired, and Scania changed the infrastructure inside the station, providing with additional fitting room and all the other things that a woman needs to be separated. And then what happened in our chats where our trainees may talk to each other, she sent a message like, look, they have done it for me and I'm the only one. And then everyone like, okay, this is what we are expecting from employers, how it should be done. This is like a case for other employers to follow. Yeah.
Nicely done. Well done, Håkan. Do you have something that can show how easy the progress can be lost?
Yes, I would say yes, because if, and this is a really serious topic for us because we are working on that, if a woman who has completed a training and she is a newcomer into this profession and she has never been into this industry, then she applies and she doesn't have enough experience, because if you go and look at vacancies, an employer wants to have at least 2 years or 1 year of experience. So this woman doesn't have it. And if she gets no from employers for 5-6 times, then she stops and she feels like, okay, if they don't want me, then why should I continue with that? So, and due to that, we try to provide also like career counseling and helping and supporting during this process of finding a job.
Good. So Tora, you are running the Iron Women. Maybe I should. Let's try here. Better. You're running the Iron Woman project together with Reskill Ukraine. would you like to tell us about that? Who are these women? What do they learn? What happens when they finish?
Sure. So I'll share some feedback about the Iron Women themselves. But first, just a few words on the program itself. So the name Iron Women actually comes from a program initiated by a sister company to us, Volvo Trucks, back in 2016. And the background was to address a severe shortage of skilled drivers, truck drivers. Since 2024, we teamed up with Beredskapslyftet to kick off a program targeting women only who would like to train to become a machine operator, so construction equipment operator. And it's a 14-week program. We are in the third year. I think 37 graduates, 14 in training. And you learn to drive heavy machinery. Obviously, you learn about safety, about regulations, and yeah, everything you need to know. And I think the women who applied, they have, like you said, little experience or no experience of heavy machinery. And I don't think anyone actually would have chosen this path if it wasn't for this specific program. We have met some obstacles, some regulatory obstacles, the need for a tractor license to do certain work, for example. We are addressing that now in the new version of the program. But I think also what many of the Iron Women themselves or the graduates say is that it's, despite the difficulties, it's also an empowering experience to learn to operate these machines. And I saw one quote that was, a profession does not have a gender, which is of course true, but much more powerful if you have experienced it yourself.
From the program side, what did Volvo and partnership with Scania as well, how did they make it possible? Or could you have done this alone? Not a tricky question, perhaps?
No, it's not tricky at all.
No.
There are several perspectives here, and thanks to Sweden and thanks to the companies contributing. So the first, I would go into concrete examples. Like the first perspective here, thanks to Volvo, for example, the training is being done under the Volvo methodology. This is first, and then, as I said before, we'd like women to be compatible in the labor market later on. And then, for example, in case of Volvo, they provided with the machines, and one of those machines was the first in Ukraine electric wheel loader, front loader, right? So it means that when employers, they see the CV and they see that this person have just completed the training, but they see this is the first person who have completed the training with this machine in Ukraine. So this way it helps a lot. In terms of Scania, of course, we have methodology and new trucks. Unfortunately, the infrastructure, I mean, the educational infrastructure in transportation is not that good. And the explanation is kind of clear and obvious because the trucks were being drafted to the front lines. Trucks are needed. And the trucks for learning how to drive this truck, they are not that good enough. And when a woman completes training, learning with the old vehicle, then she is not, again, she can't compete in the labor market. She should know the real stuff, what is happening in the market. So thanks to Scania, we have a 3-day training at Scania premises using their trucks, like really thankful. And also vehicle mechanics. They go and learn also using the real example of what is happening, knowing all the innovations in this industry. So this is like a concrete example what is happening and how women can gain from it.
Perfect. So Nina, when you hear about this model, private sector, international partner, what does it tell us about where policy can lead and where industry needs to kind of take over? And also, do you know any similar like, do we do something similar in Sweden which we could scale up, perhaps?
Super interesting and very, very good examples that we heard about here. I think it's really crucial that the industry itself, the private sector, steps up and see these questions upon what it is. It's a matter of operational effect. It's a matter of good business, and you need to keep that in mind. And you cannot sort of lay back and flow on the former successes that you have. You have to keep on pushing for progress within gender equality, because it is a matter of good business, and it will also lead to a better income and to a better market and higher value for the companies. Policy can, of course, open doors, but it cannot walk through them for you. For that, you have, as a company, to do it for yourself. And these examples are brilliant, I think. We have several sort of initiatives within Sweden, and has had so for many, many years in various branches and industries, also pointing to the academia and to, for example, trying to recruit and attract more women to engineering education and technical education. That has been, in some areas, quite successful and is increasing quite a lot, and we still need to keep on pushing for that. I think from a political point of view, we can support and help and push also the private sector a bit more, and we can. We have. Just quite recent started an initiative to take forward an European standard for effective gender equality work, which we hope and we believe that quite a lot of companies will take part in this standardization process, because that's the way we handle all the other business crucial topics. You have to integrate it, you have to work with the matters, the topics in a systematical, integrated way as a core process in each and every area. And that's not a hard regulation. It won't sort of intervene with the businesses within the companies, but it will help them to sort of guide them to actually work in an effective way with gender equality, and that's a matter of good business, nothing else.
No, true. So we have the program. I feel like everything is set up. Now it's just a tricky question. When the reconstruction begins, will this last? And Ulrika, you were into that question a bit, that history is not that encouraging here. So often after conflicts, women are pushed back. But have you seen any like, how will the difference between reconstruction that keeps these gains and the one that loses them? What are the differences?
It's a little bit what I said before. I mean, after World War II, we saw a decline, but also we saw a rise in the 60s. So I think it's a matter of time and also letting it maybe take some time. But also we know so much better now, and we have so much information.
Can we learn from that?
I think we can learn from that. Best practices are there to learn from. But I mean, the Swedish history also proves that women, of course, when women are on the labor market, the society is more gender equal. But that doesn't happen just because private companies employ them or women want to work. It's also a matter of daycare and parent leave and those reforms around women at work and men at work for that matter. So it's societal reforms that of course are needed, and that's true for every society.
Great. Are you at UN Women doing anything to influence that process, or can you?
Yeah, as I said, UN Women is working together with the Ukrainian government and also other actors, supported by Germany actually, to gender integrate reconstruction plans, to really think about how does infrastructure, when it's built again, affect men and women, how does different institutional building affect men and women, and to really try to integrate. It's not easy, because it's never easy, and there's some resistance, but I think, I mean, Ukraine is certainly ready for it. It's just that a lot of things are going on, of course. And then to really integrate, you have to really want to think about these issues and not to take it as an issue that you're supposed to think about later, but that it has effect here and now, and that it will build a better society in the future.
So Eva, if you were starting Rescale Ukraine today, knowing what you know now, what would you build in from the start to make it more durable, or would you do it the same?
What a question. Yeah. So what we know so far, if someone starts such kind of project where you bring women into the labor market and dealing with that banned word, male-dominated professions, the program itself had to undergo several stages. And the first stage was not just to bring women into the labor market. The first stage was to assure women you can do it. So you should do it voluntarily. I mean, you are not obliged to go apply, learn, and then go and be employed. So for programs like that, and for us back in time, what I would have done probably to put this timeline and say, like, now we need to work on you can do it, and then we need to work on, okay, let's support you with employment. And at the same time, knowing that we are in the intersection of all the other stakeholders. It's not about, like, it looks like you teach women and it's on the surface, but no. You go deep inside, it's about stereotypes, you work with society, you work with women, you work with employers. You do a lot of job like that, and you stand in the middle and you connect all of them and try to bring it to life and be successful. And especially you feel this on your shoulders because it's important due to the country's recovery as well. So you understand it's not only about, it sounds like you just teach women, but no, it's about recovery. Because who are these women? We also should take into account. We have 20% of IDPs, internally displaced people, so it means that they are not stable with their income, they're not stable with their lives actually, and if they have children then, and you are internally displaced, so it means you should have someone to take care of your children, or at least you need to have an infrastructure for that. Or we have women whose husbands are on the front lines fighting, so it means that you should take care about psychological support as well, because she can't even continue the education if she worries constantly if he will send her back that plus in the messenger saying, like, I'm alive today. Or we have widows who lost their husbands, and so on and so forth. So it's not only about teaching women. So many things are
it's a very broader project. Yeah. And Tora, what do you see is the industry's responsibility in this question and make this last when reconstruction ramps up?
Well, I think certainly we have a responsibility to future-proof our industry and to make it as, an attractive as possible place to work. But everyone in the construction value chain, if you will, has that responsibility. So our customers, who are the construction companies and the contractors, they have a responsibility. Cities, municipalities, national authorities that commission construction work, they also have a role to play in this. So I think we do our part, and we work together with civil society like Beredskapslyftet, with aid agencies like SIDA, and I think that's what we can do is we can be persistent. We know from other initiatives with vocational schools for mechanics that we've been running in Ethiopia and Serbia, for example, that you are into it. You need to do it for a very long time. It's a very long-term engagement. It's not just a quick fix.
No. Sanina, Sweden has a leverage through aid and reconstruction support. How can we use that to help and these kind of keep these gains for women permanent in Ukraine? What can we do?
I think Ulrika explained that quite well. If you have a whole society perspective and a gender mainstreaming or gender integral perspective in each, in the steering processes, you come a long way, I would say. And the most important lesson is that we cannot take these former successes for granted. You have to see that the threats against gender equality and female women representation in the labor market is threatened from new directions each and every year, and you cannot take that successes for granted. As for example, we see what happened when the present political administration in the U.S. Changed both development aid, the aid area, and the view upon gender equality within that, but also the sort of conditions for private sector as well to be able to work with gender equality in a proactive way. And so you have to always keep very close to the core issue. It's of course a matter of human rights and democracy, but it's also a matter of good business. The companies need to understand that if they want to have a positive and a free market, you have to include everyone, both men and women. So it's sort of a of course we have the sort of the social system around it with the parental leave. In Sweden we have had individual taxation since the 70s. That's also a crucial thing for women to build their own economy, and so it's a lot of things and you have to look upon this in a broad perspective.
And keep the mic, because now we're put the spotlight in at Sweden. I guess you always have the spotlight first in Sweden. But what do you see is the most important lesson that we can learn from Ukraine's experience?
The necessity of it, because I think the Ukrainian women did not become essential just because someone suddenly recognized their potential. They have always had it, but the circumstances no longer can be ignored. And that's a crucial lesson for Sweden as well, because we sort of see ourselves as the most gender equal country in the world, but still approximately 30% of the entrepreneurs are women. That's quite low. We have a sort of large income gap. We have an even broader gap between, if you look upon the whole life perspective between men and women, and we have a severe gender segregation situation within the labor market. So we have quite a lot to work with, and again, we cannot take the successes for granted. We have to keep on pushing for progress.
Ulrika, how can Sweden and Ukraine learn from each other?
first of all, I mean, it's incredible and very humbling that Ukrainians need to think about everything at the same time. About the war and about reconstruction, about society, about the EU, and to do that together and that solidarity and that strength, I think that's something we can learn from, of course. We are a country that have lived in peace for such a long time, so I think it's difficult to really imagine that situation and that courage. But another thing that we have in common, I think, is strong women's movements. And all facts and data point to that fact that countries that have had or have a strong women's movement that are really fighting for reforms, for maternal leave, for women in the labor market, for women in parliament, and so on. Those are the countries that go fastest into a more gender equal society. And I know there's a lot of strong women's movements in Ukraine and in Sweden, of course. But again, talking about a big country in the West and other countries, the financing to these women's rights organizations is shrinking really fast. And I think that can have a really bad effect in a while. And those are organizations that had really small finances from the start. And when they get cut down, it's really difficult to work. So a strong women's movement, but really financing is so important here.
We have equality is a very, very high topic. So you will run to the next seminar. Thank you so much, Nina.
Thank you so much for
Thank you. And Tora, what has the Ukrainian experience changed or confirmed about how Volvo thinks about the workforce planning and inclusion?
No, I think it has confirmed that, you know, to make a positive contribution to societies or the markets where we are present, you can start in your own business that you know, and then you team up with others. So you team up with, in this case, with Beredskapslyftet, and we've also done projects funded by NEFCO, which is SIDA money. So you need to find these alliances and be open to that, and that's how you can, you know, as a private company, you know, contribute and, you know, yeah, push for a good change, good direction.
And Eva, what's the conversation between Sweden and Ukraine that is not happening yet, but you see like this needs to happen?
I can't say that there is something that Sweden 100% needs to learn from us, but we have accumulated much knowledge on that. And if we look, of course, we now see that Sweden and Ukraine are exchanging knowledge in defense sector. Also, we are talking about reconstruction, and when we are talking about reconstruction, we talk about, like I heard the previous panels, we need those buildings, we need this and that to reconstruct, like physically, but we do need people to do that. Yeah, they can't be reconstructed by itself. This is first. And then, so what Sweden might learn from this unfortunate experience is how to become flexible first with hiring processes, and I think that for employers it will be really important to know how to, if crisis comes, and we know that the preparedness means that you know what to do in case of crisis. So if crisis comes, what will you do in terms of labor market, in terms of workforce, and what if you have shortages, how you will deal with that, how you will address. And so this is what we may share 100% here, what we have already learned. Yep.
Thank you. So, last couple of minutes, just very short from all of you. What's the one thing that you want the audience to leave with today? What's the thought that they should leave with?
Well, I think Nina has said it a lot of times, but gender equality isn't just about democracy and equal rights. It is an effective way of leading a society. We know that societies that are gender equal are more healthy. Men are more healthy. Gender equal societies are more prosperous economically, and they're more peaceful. So there's not really a rational argument not to work with women and gender equality. So maybe that will be my words. Thank you.
Very, very good words.
Yeah, maybe for the audience, I see quite a few women in the audience. So if you're considering a career change after Almedalen, you know, we can sign you up, you know, in whichever country you live.
Yeah, good. Never.
Yeah, I would go a bit serious here, probably, because I have two things, and I know the team I work with. They know I always say, like, I'd like to plant a seed and then for the seed to grow. So I have a dream, and my dream is that gender quota or something like that would be put into procurement procedures for companies who will be dealing with reconstruction in Ukraine, to have this quota. Then women who are taking this training, they will be sure that they have this path into the profession. This is first, and the second, I'm really sorry for taking it longer, and the second is that it's like more a manifestation for me. What we are witnessing is that inclusion, I mean, to include women into this so-called male-dominated profession, inclusion it's not an, as you said, soft some power or adds on. No, it's part of resilience. Yeah, that's it.
Very good. And thank you so much. I think we have a question.
Sure.
Yes.
I try to be less serious.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Sven. Really didn't even understood about existing such problems while coming here, and only after talking to Mr. Eva, being invited here, I really was thinking deeply, considering how these things are now organized. And believe me, in Ukrainian army now we got much more women, as even in Jewish army and in United States army, maybe in combined together. Then I come to my financial department of my brigade. Then I come to my law department of my brigade, to my personal department, the personnel. I see so many men, and I'm getting very frustrated. Why there are those men sitting on those non-combat positions? And I would like to advertise for the ladies, for the women, that nowadays war is the war where ladies, the women, could be easily on many, many positions in the brigades which are not combat. And nowadays war let us possibility to put those women in proper places, very secure, far away from the front line, to get proper salary, to be useful in the lifestyle of brigades, and to release many men and to give them rifles and to let them fight. Because many men are being very kind of cheating with such a prominent financial or law or kind of other, you know. And I can easily see how women will replace them, and those men will be more useful in this war, in the other brigade lives, if those positions will be changed to the women. And maybe let women not to drive excavators or kind of digging holes or everything. Let them put on a financial, personnel, law, administrative jobs in their combat brigades, far away from the front line, using Starlinks, using other modern possibilities, and that will be much more effective. Because if I can put my drone guy in Kyiv, and by using Starlink, steering the FPV or infantry drone, and it could go to the front line, why women cannot do the job of bookkeeping and finance for the proper brigade in the proper place? Just a small reflection. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. I think, do you want to say something, or do you just agree?
Yeah, I do agree, because I can keep talking like for ages about that. But I should remind that we have so many women now entering demining. So women are doing that. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's give a hand for the panel. And remain seated. Remain seated. Remain seated. Thank you very much. And I'm sure that Mr. Yuri, he is responsible for lessons learned in the 24th Brigade. So he will take this home as a good there. I'd like to thank the panel. And I also would like to introduce a surprise. First, I'd like to say, please come and see the exhibition. It's a very, very strong exhibition. You will see it when you see it. Please come and don't miss it. And now we have a surprise, and that is Mr. Timur, who is going to sing a song for us.
Ой, у лузі червона калина похилилася, чогось наша славна Україна зажурилася, а ми тую червону калину підіймемо, а ми нашу славну Україну гей, гей, розвеселимо. Не хилися, червоно калино, маєш білий світ. Не журися, славна Україно, маєш вільний рід. А ми тую червону калину підіймемо, а ми нашу славну Україну гей, гей, розвеселимо. Марширують наші добровольці у кривавий тан. Визволяти братів українців з москальський кайдан. А ми ті москальські кайдани розірвемо, а ми нашу славну Україну гей, гей, розвеселимо. Як повіє буйнесенький вітер широкий степів, та й прославить по всій Україні січові стрільців. А ми тую стрілецькую славу збережемо, а ми нашу славну Україну гей, гей, розвеселимо.